All right, hello, pre-algebra students. Welcome to another week. We are getting closer and closer and closer to the end. Now, this week is very different. You do not have days and days of lessons. We are going to take everything we've been learning in this chapter and we're going to apply it to a project. So, what you need to do is you need to go on, first of all, and get all the pieces to this project. There is an instructions page. There is a rubric. These things are very important. If you don't have a printer, obviously, you're just going to look at them on your device. But if you have a printer, I would recommend printing them off, even though you could look at them online. It can be really helpful to see things, especially with the rubric. We're going to go through it in a little bit. But before you hand an assignment in, you should look through the rubric. Does my assignment match what I want to get on this assignment? So we'll go over the rubric, we'll go over the instructions, and then I'll set you loose and you'll have this whole week to work on this one project. So it's quite a bit different. So first of all, I do want to point out, there are no corrections on this assignment. There are no redos. Okay, we've been living in that redo correction land with all of our homework, which has been good for making sure that we understand what we're doing. But this is equivalent to a test grade. Okay, it's actually going to go in the test and quiz category. So for some of us, that's kind of an exciting thought to think that we could raise that. But that also means that I need to get good work. We're not getting easy grades, okay? I will grade according to this rubric. So that's why it's so important that we're paying attention to that and that we're ensuring that we've met all of those requirements. So first of all, with the instructions, let's go through them. I think if I hold them up here, they're going to be backwards, I think. So I'll just read them and kind of just elaborate a little bit. You need to go through and read this on your own. I hope you have. If you haven't yet, you can do that now. Pause and do that now, or you can do it after the video. But really understanding the assignment before we start the assignment, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pick a statistical question, okay? You're going to pick a question that has a numerical answer, and you're going to send it to me to have it approved. Now, you don't have a lot of assignments this week, but this is one assignment. You get 5 points on your final grade if you actually had me approve it. And I would approve it because if you pick a question and you don't get it approved, and it's not the type of question that you were supposed to choose, then your whole project is in jeopardy. Okay, so you're going to pick a question and you're going to send it to me. Now, I want to emphasize something. It has to have a numerical answer. So asking people what their favorite place to eat out is not a question that has a numerical answer. If I say, what's your favorite place to eat out? Are you going to say 5? No. Okay, so pick a question that has a number as the answer. So, how many times a week do you watch TV? How many pairs of shoes do you have? Those are questions that have numerical answers. What size shoe do you wear? All sorts of questions. You can pick a question that's interesting to you. Maybe how many minutes of homework do you have a day in Miss Wilkins' class? Whatever it might be, it's got to have a numerical answer. Pick the question, send it to me. I would think you would get that done right after you finish this video to get the ball rolling. Starting a project is half the battle. Step 2, collect the data. So you're going to ask people the question that you've chosen. Now, you can do it however you want. You can email people, you can text, you can call people, you can ask people in your family, the people that live in your home, whatever it might be. Listen here, you need at least 15 values. That means you need to ask at least 15 people. You need to have a list of at least 15 numbers. More is better when it comes to data, but at least 15. Okay, that is a non-negotiable. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to find central tendency measures. So after you've collected that data, you have that long list of data, you are going to find these things. You're going to find the mean, the median, the mode, the range, the upper quartile, the lower quartile, the interquartile range, the maximum, and the minimum. Those are all things we learned about. We're going to apply them all here. Okay, we're wrapping up everything we've learned in this project. The third thing you're going to do after you've done 2 and 3, you've collected the data, you've made some calculations on central tendencies, okay? The next thing that you are going to do is you are going to create 3 data displays. This is one of the biggest parts of the whole project. You are going to come up with 3 graphs that display the data. We have learned about a lot of different graphs. Now, what would I recommend? Well, first of all, you can use, if you are coming up with the upper and lower quartile in the previous step, step 3, you were supposed to come up with the upper, lower quartile, minimum, and maximum. Which graph would be a really logical connection to use that information in? What would it be? The box and whisker, right? So I would recommend one of them being a box and whisker. Then you can choose the other two. Now, use what we learned on Friday, choosing an appropriate graph. Let's talk about some graphs that will not work for certain data. So let's say you go out and you ask everyone's shoe size, and you decide you want to use a line graph. Is a line graph really going to be helpful if we have somebody has size 6, and then size 10, and then size 7, and then 8, and then 7, and then 8, and then 8? Does a line graph show anything? We can see, oh, it's increasing and decreasing. It's not helpful. Line graphs are good for data over time. I'm going to guess most of your questions are not going to be data over time, so that may not be most useful. The other thing that a lot of students ask about is, can we make graphs through Word or through Excel? And my answer would be not on this project. I want to see what you know how to do. So you're going to construct these graphs and you're going to take pictures of them, and then you're going to put them into your project. Okay, so you're going to come up with 3. I would recommend a box and whisker. If you're not sure what to do a stem and leaf. Histogram's a really great one for this type of data when it's all numerical. So there's 3 graphs right there. So if you want to just use a histogram, a stem and leaf, and a box and whisker, that'll work. The 5th thing you're going to do is you're going to describe your data. You're going to write a paragraph describing your results. You're going to use complete sentences. You're going to include your question, how many people you asked, and the results. So you would write the paragraph. My statistical question was, what size shoe do you wear? And I asked 20 people the results of this, and you're going to write more complete sentences, but I'm kind of just helping you out here. I noticed that the most common shoe size was an 8. I had one person that wore a 13, and that number was far bigger than all the other pieces of data. Most of the data was between 8 and 10. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever you want to do there. You're just going to summarize what you're seeing in your data. So maybe there's a concentration, or maybe it's very generally spread out, whatever it might be. The 6th thing you're going to do, this is how you're going to take up all this information that you have and wrap it up into a present to give to me, okay? First slide, you're going to put your question, okay? Oh, sorry, rewind. You're going to make a PowerPoint, okay? You're going to make a PowerPoint to share this information with me. Okay, so first slide, you're going to have a total of 6 slides, and I have very clearly laid out what you need to put on each one. Slide 1, put your question. Slide 2, you're going to put your central tendency measures. Now you need to put your list of data and then all of those values that you came up with, okay, so I can actually check your work. Slide 3, you're going to put a graph. Slide 4, you're going to put another graph. And slide 5, you're going to put your 3rd graph, okay, so those should be 1 graph per slide. And the 6th is that paragraph summary. So all that you're doing in this PowerPoint is summarizing all the stuff that I just made you do, okay? So slide 1 is the question. Slide 2 is the list of data and the central tendencies, okay? So all that stuff you came up with in step 3. And then you're going to put a graph per slide, so you're going to have those 3 graphs. And then your 6th slide is just going to be that paragraph summary, okay? So this project is going to be done over a week, so we say about a half an hour each day, so that's 2.5 hours, and I do think this project can be finished within 2.5 hours. You may want to spread that out over all 5 days. You may want to focus on it more at the beginning of the week or whatever you want to do, but it is due this Friday. If you have questions, let me know. The other thing that I really want you to think about is the fact, like I said at the beginning, that there are no redos, there are no corrections. So if you create a graph and you're not sure about it, or maybe you're not quite sure how to find the median, you think you found it but you're not sure, you can ask me questions, okay? Ask questions. You can send me a graph and ask me about it. You can drop in on Zoom and show me your data and show me what you came up with for your median and ask me if that's correct, okay? Nobody, very few people, I'll say that, is taking advantage of the Zoom office hours. Every day from 2 to 3, I sit at my computer on Zoom waiting for a student to show up, and I don't have very many show up. So I'd love to see you. If you have a question, ask it. I'll say it one more time. No redos, no corrections. So make sure you get it right the first time, because that's the only time I'm taking it. Quickly going over the rubric, okay? So the first thing you get 10 points, total of 40 points, first of all. Total of 40 points. The first 10 points are for the central tendency measures. So if you find all of those values with no mistakes, you get all 10 points. If you make one mistake, you'll get 8 points, and so on, okay? That's that. Then data display 1, that's your first graph, okay? It's a display of data. That's worth 5 points. It has to meet all 5 of these requirements to get all 5 points. And if you're missing one, you'll lose points for each one. It needs to be an appropriate choice. So if you choose a graph that does not work for your data, you will lose a point, okay? So appropriate choice. It needs to be neat, okay? In some of our homework, I did not see neatness, okay? And you kind of got away with it. When I say neat, I mean neat. So if you need to pull out a straight edge, like the edge of a notebook or a folder, use that. This should be quality work. Third thing, it needs to be accurate, okay? It needs to contain all components. So if you choose to use a histogram, you need to have the intervals along the bottom. If you choose to use a bar graph, you need to have the categories and the axes labeled, okay? It needs to be set up correctly. Use your notes from all of the work we did. And it needs to be clear, okay? Make it understandable. So for each of your graphs, you get 5 points if they include all 5 of those things. So 5, 10, 15, okay? So we had 10 for the central tendency measures, now 15 total for the 3 graphs put together, so we're at 25 points. 10 points for your PowerPoint. It needs to contain all 6 things: the question, the central tendency measures, the 3 graphs, and the summary paragraph, okay? And if it's missing any of those, you'll lose points. The last thing that you get points on, you get 5 points if you had me approve your question, okay? And that all totals till 40 points. Make sure you're using this rubric, looking back at it. Before you hand your project in, you should say, yes, 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 I have met all the requirements. You should know your grade when you hand it in, because you can see if you've met those or not. Okay, so that is the project that you have to work on this week. Get after it. I would start and focus my work at the beginning of the week, if at all possible, or at least consistently spread it out. Don't wait till the end of the week. This is worth a test grade, okay? So just like we prepare for tests, you should be putting in the effort you need for this project. So show me quality work. Show me something interesting. If you want to pop a double bar graph, double line graph if it's appropriate, whatever it might be, if you can make, or you choose to have your data fit that. So let's say you mark on the shoe sizes male and female, and you keep that data and you create a double bar graph or whatever it might be. That'll be really interesting to see. So I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you later.